Hello and welcome back to my second part of I'm going home. Um, in the first section, I just give you a general overview what this is all about. Right now, let's go a little bit deeper. Imagine that you go to a doctor and the doctor says you have a cancer and you have like 6 months to live. It's much like with the polar reversal, you have only 20 years to go, and actually that's not correct. You have only few years to go because there is going to be another event happening that over 5 billion people will disappear. In every video I'm going to leave a little clues what's about to happen. I am not going to do that in one giant segment because that might be taken down, and and the other thing is I don't want to cause giant panic. Before, however, that happened, I want you to be prepared, those which are watching this. So imagine that you have the death sentence and you have 6 months to live. Many people react to that differently. In my case, when I was told that I have lymphoma, I just ignored that. I just decided, yeah, right, whatever. In case of my mother's friend, however, it was a different story. She got so scared, so afraid that she couldn't even speak. She was stuttering. She was stuttering to the point that she didn't make any sense to anybody. And within 3 weeks, she died. But what's interesting about this whole episode, that when she was already lying in the bed, there was no hope for her whatsoever. In the last minute, her colors changed. She turned pink, and her last words to people that were around her said, "It's so beautiful," and that's it. She was gone. So that indicates that this whole anxiety, the pain, the fear leading towards that is not necessary, because this is overwhelming electromagnetic static that is very painful, not only for the being, for the person that is suffering that, but for the people that are waiting there to pick you up, to guide you through this whole, because the guidance is most focused on elevate your frequency, and they cannot do anything because they cannot, like, imagine that there is a high voltage transformer and there is some kind of short circuits not far from there, and if they make a one step, they are just going to be fried. So no guide is going to show up near you. They need to wait until you come down, the voltage comes down, because this is you have no, this is all electricity. So if you are in distress, the polarity change. So whatever was positive is now negative, but whatever was negative, that was the conduit leading towards where you need to go. It's millions of volts. No one is going to come and touch that because they would be fried immediately. Simple science. After people expire, they have tendency to judge themselves. There is no one judging you, but because of this stupid dogma, the religious dogma, the cultural dogma, the political dogma, the whatever nonsense that we are surrounded with, is causing that you feel guilty over things that don't even concern you. If you screw up something, it is part of your experience. It's neither good or bad. You just did it something. Don't feel guilty over that. That's the dumbest thing you can do. Never do that. Same thing is with the whole forgiveness. People, I don't know who come up with this stupid thing, but the only time that you need to do forgive, when someone is pointing a gun on you and you know that he's gonna shoot you, then what you do the same thing that John Paul II did when he was assassinated by Ali Aksha. He blessed him and he said, "I forgive you." That's the only moment you do that. If you are an abuser and you feel that that the person that you hurt needs to forgive you for what you have done, Don't do that. The person that needs forgive is you, the abuser, yourself for that act, because you do not know if that person that you hurt did not request that. This is something that no one is teaching in schools. Church doesn't even want to come close to this, because church is a fanatical, those are just a bunch of fanatics, nothing else. They lost sight of actually spirituality and science is. But don't blame them, because they are needed, they are necessary, they are there providing the essential parts or elements into our experience that we need, that we are looking for. So blaming them is not really right. Being angry at them is not really right either. However, I am only providing you with what is. Those are facts, that this is a fanatical, every religion, it doesn't matter which one it is, this is fanaticism already. There are elements within that, however, they are very useful, but you need to distinguish between, there is a fine line between those two things. Let's say the christening, this is something that's science behind this, the washing off the electromagnetic static. That's what it is designed for. That when you have a group of people that participating in that ceremony of that christening, their thoughts need to be focused on that being there to wash off or dissolve the sins. A sin is something being off the path. This doesn't mean that it's good or bad. It's simply, it's an electromagnetic static attached to that child that needs to be dissolved, so the child can focus on their own purpose in life and so on. So I'm just throwing that in right there so you understand that. But in religious terms, you remember how many millions of people, hundreds of millions of people were killed over that? Millions of people, because they didn't want to be baptized. And they were sinners. You see how scientific principle, known for hundreds of thousands of years, turned into freak show thanks to religions. This is the end of the road. During the polar reversal, this whole thing is falling apart. This is moving away. There is no longer, after year 2026, most likely never going to be any Catholic church or any church. It doesn't matter if that's Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, or whatever. Afterwards, some pieces are going to be picked up and they are going to mold this into completely different cultural beliefs or dogmas or whatever. The Stoicism, the Gnostics, this whole thing, this is new invention. It's not even 10,000 years old. This is all going to go bye-bye. And then after a few thousand years, some of them, they are going to just pop up in different form, with different language, with different symbols, with different whatever. Okay, I am sidetracking that. I am going to dedicate a completely different video to religious beliefs and stuff like that, because that needs to be addressed, because it's over for corporate world, for bankings, for medicine, for religions, for this is governments. It's all done. No more. But so what? Now you as a person need to. You are always a person that can survive only as a collective, like in a group, not as a single person, because you. Individually you have no chance. So now it's afterwards there is a time to do some brainstorming, how to organize ourselves, either join groups that already exist or form new ones, or how to resolve that. And fighting between them is just stupid. It doesn't gonna give you any benefits. Okay, let's move towards the dying. So after you pass you of course you judge yourself. You try to somehow do things right, and many of you will incarnate immediately because you want to do the things right, and you sometimes are gonna force yourself into the families where you think you need to do things right. It's your choice, but you don't need to do that. Just be aware of those things. The other thing is, when you die in horrifying accidents or being shot or tortured or what's not, don't make attachment to those events, to those situations. Just let it go. Remove yourself. There is always someone standing by. So if you find yourself in a situation like that where you are terrified, just calm yourself down and call in decisive voice, please help me. And wait, because sometimes, as I said, that electromagnetic static is so intense that no one is going to approach. And after the static is less intense, then someone is going to either call you and you follow that voice. Just be careful who is calling you, because some of those calls are very deceiving. Those are tricksters. You need to be aware of that. You need to also understand something if you are a member of religious cults, that many of them require you to pledge something. If you do that, you are in trouble, because whatever you did is going to show up on the other side, waiting to get that pledge from you. The situations are sometimes very unpleasant. Believe me, I witnessed that many times. I am aware of going back and forth many times, and I've seen situations where don't look too good, but they are all based in fear. Once you are scared, whatever being is there has the control over you through fear. Once you conquer that fear, they have no longer control over you. And I know that from my own personal experience, because I was not only attacked by a demonic entity in the altered state, but I also was attacked in the physical reality here on Earth, actually in this building. So I know how to deal with those things. It's very simple, just not to be afraid. There was one attack when I was younger, same thing. They know they cannot win, forget it. But when you surround yourself to that fear, then they have control over you. So don't be smart. You can develop that the power to be secure by your own inventing your own safe space. So when you see that something is happening like that, then you just call on that spot where you feel safe, or just say to yourself, I am safe, I am light, I am loved, I am always safe, and so on. It's a simple mantras that the simple mantras, and actually they turn into prayers, and then they turn into all those singing competition. You see how many of those monks and all religious they hum all kinds of sounds. They are the one that are helping you elevate your frequency, detach yourself from the static, let's say. But the humming is not just humming, it needs to be a clear sound, like C, G, D, E, something that is very pure and clear, so that the static has no attachment to them. But if you are humming this off tune, then you are attracting more of the static. So remember that. I think one of the main, the most popular is C, G, and D. Those are the tunes that are very helpful for bringing your. So even if you are already on the other side, you just start humming. I know that I did when I was in trouble. Then I was very vocal, and that helped a lot, because it changed your not only the pattern of in your brain, because as I mentioned, the brain is a toroid antenna, is a receiver and emitter and transmitter, and it changed the pattern how process the information, and sometimes this this transmitter from single sound, because of the way this is set up, it transmits more than one sound. It's like you give a key, let's say D, and it's starts singing in D, so there are more tunes coming in. So and they support each other. This is like a song. All right. So let's look at another thing that I am trying to tell you. All right, now I'm gonna give you some insight about dying in my family, my grandma and my grandfather. When my grandma got sick, she was bedridden for many years, I think 12. During the time she got up from the bed maybe only a few times with our help, just to go outside and sit in the sun to enjoy the outside. But other than that, imagine you yourself being in the bed for 12 years. She never complained, not even once. I wish I had courage like that, because I am a bit of a complainer, but she didn't. I mean, I admire that. Then in the last week or two, actually maybe 3 weeks before she died, she saw children playing around her and helping her with her pillow and the cover, and they were asking her if she needs something to drink and so on. They were very cheerful, and actually she was very cheerful as well. She was like almost gaining the energy. She was sometimes, when I walk into the room, asking, who are those children around me, because I don't know any one of them. They are so beautiful. I say, there are no kids, what are you talking about? And sometimes I was sleeping next to, because where she was, there was a second room. I was there too sometimes, and when I noticed that she sometimes was humming, like I don't know how she knew that, but that was very helpful for if you are in bedridden. That helps when you start increasing your vibration. Your body is still there, but you are already in different space. And the final day, she just expired. She just took last breath, and she wasn't even. She was normal. The facial features were like, she was like almost alive. When I remember I was the one who took her from the bed and placed her in the coffin after Mom washed her body and dressed her and so on. What was shocking to me that when I put my hands under there, she was already the second day laying in the bed, so she was basically stiff. But when I put my hands under, she was warm, and I was like, holy crap, she's alive. But no, she was not. And she was like, I remember, 40 pounds. I put her into the coffin. I wish I died like that. Just close the eyes and now Wiedersehen. The second death in my family was my grandfather. He got problem with his heart, but at that time the doctors, they had no idea what was happening with him, and they were suspecting that he has asthma. Because when you have heart problems, then some of the side for the symptoms, they look like asthma. When he went to hospital, because he was complaining, he didn't want to go, but he was complaining about chest pain, and they took him there and say, oh yeah, you have asthma, and they give him medication. That medication basically speed up this whole process. And interestingly, he found someone in the bed next to him that he knew from World War I. They were buddies, and they talked for a couple of hours, exchanging like their experiences. They were enjoying the time, and then finally, after midnight, he starts having this massive heart attack. He suffered for about 2 hours. By the end, and no doctor, nobody showed up. He was just on the news show up with some spray which gave him to help him with his asthma, which basically it was the last nail in the coffin. And the last minute when he was already done, he said to his buddy next to, "Oh, it's time for me to go, the horses are here." So the friend asked him, "What are you talking about? What horses?" He said, "There is a carriage with 4 stallions that come to pick me up, and I'm leaving." And boom, that's it, he was gone. So those are the 2 events that gave me insight on what is happening next. People have in many families the same stories or similar stories, but they don't try to reflect on them. The fear of dying is so freaking unnecessary. This is something that was placed on you by church, by the Holy Inquisition, Spanish Inquisition, French Inquisition, all the nonsense, and then all the KGB, CIA, the tortures, the accusation of being spies or commies or whatever, the domestic terrorist, and this is all about fear, to make sure that you are always scared, because when you are scared you are easy to control. That not only applies to life right now, but it also applies when you die. When you're afraid, anybody can take control of you, of your being. Don't do that. Don't surrender. And even though that feels like judgmental towards church and all the institutions, but they are necessary, because it is about you, not them. It is to see how it is all about your convictions. If you understand who you are, then you don't cave in. So what if they come and kill you? What the worst thing can happen? You will be dead. You are gonna die anyway, so what the heck? Sooner or later, you don't have to pay taxes. Okay? So don't be afraid. Don't give up into that. Don't give into that, because it's very easy to be controlled by bank, by church, by doctor, because medicine is crap. You should never trust any doctor. If they tell you that you have a disease, call which lady and make sure that that's correct. They don't know. They have no idea. They misdiagnose people. That happened to me. That happened to many people I know. Don't. This does not mean that they are bad people. They do what they do because of the way the system works. And what I'm saying, I'm not trying to tell you that you should point fingers at them. I'm just saying stand up for your own conviction. Just because a doctor is telling you something BS doesn't mean that you should be mean to him. Just listen what he said. Confirm with somebody else, and draw your own conclusion. Have your own opinion about what is happening to you. Don't go and show a vicious anger towards them, because that doesn't work. That you're gonna get hurt. Same thing with all the secret services, or CIA, or NSA, or anybody involved in this, or the globalies, the Illuminatis, or what's not. Those organizations, if they were not necessary, they wouldn't be here. They are part of just like a Garden of Eden. Each plant represents something. Each tree, each animal, each living thing represents something, and is contributing energy towards your personal experience. So they do the same thing they do. So I hope this part is a little bit more clear for you, because I don't want you to die in the with the mindset that this world is really bad for you and mean and what's not. Yes, it's tough. I am not gonna miss this world, believe me, but I am already working what is going to be happening next. That's why I wrote that little book. I am an alien, I think, where you can find a chapter on the message from Nostradamus. It's very short, very concise, and I want you to read that and reflect what is being said there. Same, next to that there is a chapter on how to conquer your fear. It's very simple, straightforward, not complicated. It works 100% because I'm the one who went through the process and conquer. So I hope that will help you as well. So thank you for watching this video. Please leave some comments or share your experience with that in the comment section, or you can send me email and with your stories. Then I can either post them on my website or YouTube or any way I can on Facebook. Because if life is worth living, it's worth sharing with others as well. So again, thank you. Share this video. Please like this video. Subscribe if you didn't yet. Please click that notification bell, and see you in the next video. Thank you.